From the galactic depths of the comic book universe comes the ghosts of the stratosphere, ready to galvanize and energize your mind with the latest of comic book news and reviews. And why are you stopping me? Yes, that's much better. Hi, this is Andy Larson for Ghosts of the Stratosphere. Join me every week along with my co-hosts Rob Stewart and Chad Smith, as well as a cavalcade of fantastic comic book guests, as we dish out heaping helpings of the greatest and latest of comic book news and reviews. New shows posted every Tuesday with bonus shows every first Friday of the month. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher under Ghosts of the Stratosphere, as well as on our website, www.gotstratosphere.com. Hope to see you soon, folks.
Hey there, this is John from Pint Comics.
And I'm Lloyd, also from Pint Comics.
And I'm the other John, and you get it by now. As you may know, we sometimes use language on this show that can be described as...
filthy.
Okay.
Reprehensible?
Crude?
Sure.
Nasty.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, guys. We all know that it's just plain out gutter talk.
You've been warned. Listen in.
Welcome to the Pint Movie Invitational Series.
Clem, let me drive you home.
Get out of my face, faggot!
Look at it out here. It's all falling apart. I'm erasing you and I'm happy. You did it to me first. I can't believe you did this to me. Clem, can you hear me? By morning, you'll be gone. The perfect ending to this piece of shit story.
There's your mandatory 5 seconds of silence, and we're back with Pint Comics. And as you heard, our buddy...
What?
Whoa.
Not only that, but why is he speaking with some kind of cheesy Southern accent?
I think it's pretty good. I think I sound like, that, I don't know, maybe not, no. Okay, go on.
He's
Sling Blade, that's who you sound like.
French
fried potatoes.
I was going to say, Carl, what do you like to eat? I like to eat them French fried potatoes. What does he say when he's talking about John Ritter? Because John Ritter plays the gay guy. He says to him, he goes, he's like, he's not funny, ha-ha, he's funny queer. Oh, so there we go, my Billy Bob Thornton imitation. Wow. Pint of Comics here with the Johns, the Manster. And as you heard, Andrew Morgan, the official voice of the Pint Movie Invitational, started the show. Andrew also hosts a very cool show called The Nomcast, Netflix original movies podcast, where he talks about Netflix original movies, such as The Dirt, the Motley Crue biopic, which I watched last week, and it's passable. It's fun. It's a passable film. It's not anything anybody needs to run out to see. If this was in the theaters, this would be a hard pass. Netflix,
yeah, for sure.
For something you're paying, X amount of dollars a month, which, by the way, by the time this comes out, it might be
it's going up.
Passed. It's going up in May.
Damn.
Another $2, I think they said, because they basically realized they have everybody by the balls that, because they're putting all these original movies on.
I got a friend who still does DVD only on Netflix.
Do they still do DVDs?
They still do, yep.
Holy shit.
There's got to be people in the boonies somewhere that doesn't have internet, so
yeah,
or very spotty internet. They still have dial-up.
I did DVDs for probably about the first year or two, and then what ended up happening was I just had so many that I never got to that I said no. And the streaming at that point was still very weak.
Yeah.
And then once the streaming got a little bit, it still is, but no, it was worse.
Amazon
when they started,
that was awful.
Amazon Prime actually, I think
they got some good programs.
They've got some good programs and movies.
When I had it for the brief period that I had it, I was not impressed with their streaming. It just wasn't good. Of course, it could have been where I was, but
the worst one for movies is Hulu by far.
I was living near you at that
terrible at movies.
What's that?
I was living near you.
Yeah,
when I was
you're
living
over
in
in West Hartford.
Awful streaming ability with Amazon Prime there.
Really? No, I don't have a problem really. Not with the streaming.
Well, it was also John wasn't paying for his; he was stealing his.
No,
neighbors.
I was paying for it.
Hey, how about on the Nomcast? You ever do the ritual?
They did the ritual with me on it. And, that was a fun show.
Wow.
That was a fun show.
Listen to that one.
Yeah, I feel bad because I think I screwed up Andrew's thing
Because it wasn't.
It wasn't officially
truly,
a Netflix original movie, and he humored me by letting me do it. And I think he's maybe a little OCD. Yeah. And I think it bothered him that it wasn't a technical Netflix original movie.
Well, you didn't do that asterisk either.
So. No, and I said to him, you could put an asterisk on mine.
Was he twitching every?
He wasn't twitching. He wasn't, and he's like Andrew's like have gun will travel. He came here and we did the podcast. I said to him, he goes, "I'll come over to your house and we'll do this." And I'm like, "You want me to come to your house?" I'm like, "I'm not like a weirdo." He's like, "No, you know, he's got 2 little kids, and he's like, it's just easier for me to do this way."
Oh yeah, I get that.
So I said, "You want me to bring my gear out and everything?" He's like, "No, I'll bring all my own." He had this whole setup. He had mics. He's cracking shit out. And he came. I felt like it was like a service I paid for. He came. We did like a 45-minute show, and then he's like, "Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Amenti." He shook my hand and took off. And I'm like sitting here like, he didn't even flip my pillow. Have podcast will travel. That's Andrew Morgan, but Andrew's not here tonight. Pint Movie Invitational, and we got the 6-packer, Chris Frodel.
Hello,
Chris from the great internet blog, Arguing with Myself. I didn't want to say Facebook because you've actually reached across recently. You've been on Twitter and now you're on Instagram too.
I am. I'm bursting with ideas. I don't know. It was just everyone's over there, and I said, let me see how it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
over there on the Twitters and the Instagrams.
Yeah. I figured let's have another outlet where I can be disappointed.
Yeah. I'll be totally honest. I think that all these things are good in the long run to keep people aware of what you're doing.
Until they close up like Google Plus.
Well, not just that, but like if I were to take the amount of people that follow us on Twitter and take the amount of people that follow us on Instagram and the amount of people that like us on Facebook, and if I divided that by even the smallest amount that actually listen to us, but I mean, and that's fine. It's just, you've got like over on Facebook, we've got like I think 1,500 like followers. Yeah. And I don't see 1,500 downloads an episode. Mm-hmm. I get that that's never going to happen. Right. But I mean, you still want your name out there. It helps out with certain things. It helps us out a lot with reviews and stuff like that. People see us and like, we'll say, "Hey, do you want to take a look at my thing?" But in terms of
go away. No.
And I understand it too, because I'll be honest, I'm on social media. You guys are. How often do you see an ad for a podcast and go, "I'm going to listen to that"? You know?
That's true. It's basically word of mouth. Well, not word of mouth. I can't even say that because that's a form of advertising. But if like one of you guys says, "Hey, got to check out this new one," right? It seems to be something that you'd be interested in. Yeah. Then maybe I'll check it out.
I've got to hear. I've got to hear from someone too. If I just see a preview and it's just, again, not making fun of our own show, but it's show number 7,000,000 talking about Avengers Endgame. I'm like, why? What would make me want to listen to that? Yeah.
So being that I write for my site, I do.
I hear dogs.
I write for my site. I tend to want to do something that will draw people to me. Right. And I don't know. Sometimes I surprise myself. Other times I'm like, oh man, well that went over like a lead balloon.
Yeah. Well, you do good stuff. You do good reviews.
Thank you.
You do some for us as well, and you do Fun Friday trivia.
Yay.
Yep. Today's Saturday, so we won't ask you for today's Fun Friday trivia.
I missed it yesterday.
Yeah. What was yesterday? Even though this will come out probably in a month from the time we're recording, what was yesterday's Fun Friday trivia? It was circled around at the very least.
It was. I will say it was. Did you know that Captain Marvel had a cereal in the 40s?
Yes. Oh, I did see that.
Yes, and you yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's right.
I
didn't
think
realize
you're my only one.
Oh. No, I did know that. That was actually the cereal that they did of Captain Marvel in the 40s was very, very popular. And
I've heard of it.
It was the first superhero brought the screen.
Yeah.
I have heard that. Hey, Lloyd.
One of the things from that.
Grab me a beer.
Did you ever see it?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I thought it was interesting because everyone references the 70s.
Yeah. But
Captain
they never
Marvel.
talk about the cereal,
which was surprising. I came across that and I was like, that's fun. That's something I can talk about. And I ended up posting about it. Yeah, to coincide with Shazam.
Right, and one of the things with that one too is people have talked about it. Well, people in the movie industry and those that really like the serials are still amazed at the special effects they used for that serial and the way that they made the stuntman fly for Captain Marvel. Yeah, it was the best that had been done up until Christopher Reeve.
Really? Yeah. I've never seen it. I'll have to check it out. What was the guy's name who played him?
I know Tom Tyler.
Yeah. Tom Tyler. I've seen that several times. Yeah,
he did a lot of westerns.
Yeah, he did. He was a big chiseled,
lunk-headed lantern jaw kind of guy.
He definitely had the lantern jaw. He had the 40s lantern jaw and everything. And the kid wasn't as young. The kid that played Billy Batson was like
he looks like
teenager, or
20s, something like that.
At least 18. So
really,
yeah.
All right, so we could talk about that all day, but unfortunately we're here to talk about something else. Chris, you came out of the Pint Invitational. This is your episode. What movie did you bring to us, and why did you pick this movie of all the movies that are out there?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I picked it because it's one of my favorite movies. It's one of those films that you can watch and take something different away from it each time. You can look at it one way, and then the next viewing you can just be like, what was I thinking? I think this now.
Right.
It's ever-changing.
That's interesting.
I agree with him.
I completely disagree with him.
Really?
Wow. Yes, really? I completely disagree with him.
I agree with him, but we'll get into why.
Yeah.
We'll get into why.
I come across
so much change my mind.
This is one of the reasons that I didn't want to watch it again.
Because it's the one way that you look at it. Right?
It's not the one way I look at it. It's the perceptions I get out of it every single time, and also the reasons I usually watch it. We'll get into that later too.
Okay. Yeah.
Lloyd, you were saying.
I forget what I was saying. I was saying there's so much in this. I mean, I think you could pick something new out of it every time. Maybe not the overall theme of
right.
Well, we'll get to that.
Right. Yeah. Everyone's alluding to it.
Well,
I know we should probably do that.
We always do this, right? And this is a 15-year-old movie. Which, by the way, I wanted to bring out the fact that we watched this in early April, right? And this movie came out March 19th of 2004.
Yep.
So we hit about the 15-year mark with this movie. So
I'm sorry I'm so late.
John is good with this. John, now this is a tough one, but John is good at bumper sticker. Give us the bumper sticker idea of what this movie is about.
Two people have a relationship and want it erased from their brain, so they go to someone that has the ability to do so, and the ramifications of which are part of the story.
Yes, it is a love story.
It's good.
Told differently than any love story I can think of.
I mean, when I first stepped into it, I did not see all the weird science fiction aspects.
It's a science fiction movie.
It definitely is.
It's a science fiction,
but it's so lightly touched on the science fiction stuff. So,
and we'll get into it. Yeah. Okay, so real quick, we'll do what we usually do. We'll talk a little bit about the cast of the movie, and then we'll start talking about the plot of the movie and stuff like that. So this movie follows. We got a couple of lead actors. Jim Carrey. He of the rubber face and being born out of a rhino's asshole.
Wow.
He stars as Joel Barish. If you know Jim Carrey, you know him from The Mask and Dumb and Dumber and all that stuff.
Was this the first Jim Carrey serious role?
No, this was a long line.
No.
He had done The Majestic. He had done The Truman Show.
The Truman Show was before this.
He had done, if you want to call it serious, he had done the Andy Kaufman movie.
This was probably the most sedate of all of those, though.
This is the closest Jim Carrey ever came, in my opinion. I was, as I'm watching this, having not seen it in a long time, there is barely a hint of rubber-facedness. There's barely a hint of manicness. He is so laid back in this movie.
He's repressed.
He's repressed.
So fucking repressed.
Yeah,
it's
you're right.
painful to watch at times, which was another thing.
Which is part of his choice. The whole,
Right, it's part of the movie, but again, it's just, we'll get into that.
so Jim Carrey plays Joel Barish. He's the main character. In terms of he's the male half of the male-female relationship who ends up wanting to have the female half. Kate Winslet playing Clementine. I think it's Krasinski.
Oh yeah. I'm not even attempting the last names. There's a lot of them.
Kate Winslet's character is probably one of the earlier, at least for that time period. What's the term they use for this kind of character? Manic pixie dream girl. Have you ever heard that before? This is a trope that they use it's a female character, but what I like about it is in the movie she actually says that she's not this. It's the female character who is supposed to be unattainable by most men, but like seems to like this one person that she shouldn't, and makes his dream come true. And it's like a wish fulfillment, you know. And but the character at several points says, "I'm not a concept," you know.
Right.
But she
repeatedly,
but she technically kind of does fit that that idea. And of course, we know her from Titanic and Finding Neverland. And
Kate Winslet is great.
she's not only great; she's a great actress. She's so beautiful.
She's so good.
She's so she's.
Did
Beautiful.
you know she's English?
Yeah, and she's a Brit too. She's a Brit. Elijah Wood plays a real creep. He played
in a long line of creeps.
Yeah, he does play creeps pretty well. You know Elijah as Frodo Baggins, and he was in. I put this down on purpose because he plays a creep in that. He played the lead in the remake of Maniac. Did any of you guys ever see that?
No.
The 1980 slasher. Oh, and
they made a remake of that?
It's Elijah Wood, and he is the killer. And it's all told from like a first-person perspective. It's a pretty good movie, but he's a good actor because, you know, you look at him and you think, okay, you know, kind of young guy.
Yeah.
You know, you think of him as kind of Frodo-y.
Giant blue eyes he's got.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really see him in this movie so much.
No.
He is kind of a background character.
He is a background
compared
character.
to many of the others.
He's kind of purposely a background character, but he's also kind of a creep.
Wholeheartedly a creep.
But we'll get into
that. I want to give tribute to Chris's wife, Melanie, and say that our next actor is known as Sexy Mark Ruffalo by her.
Sexy. I have a lot to live up to.
We even got Sexy Mark Ruffalo butt crack in this movie.
We got his butt crack. We got a lot of tidy whitey.
Oh yeah,
hair. He plays
strong
Stan.
choice.
He plays Stan. You know him from Avengers and Zodiac. That's
a few other things.
13 going on 30. I mean, manly film. I don't know.
In the Cut.
In the Cut, yeah, with Meg Ryan, right?
Yeah.
Kirsten Dunst is in this. She plays Mary. Kirsten Dunst.
And I want to say this
Yeah.
before I forget, because I will forget this. Every time I've seen this movie, and I've seen it a lot.
You forget she's in it?
I forget she's in this.
Really?
I really do.
Wow.
Even if I had watched it back to back, I'd be watching it. Oh, yeah, she's in this.
I thought she did a fine job.
No, she does.
I can't believe you overlooked.
She's just, again, she's another one of the more of the background characters and not someone you would think is going to be in this. And unless you saw her name in the cast list, which I don't even think on the box is on. Is it? Oh, it is.
Well, to be honest, everyone except for Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet are background characters.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
This movie follows them for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you've got Mark Cross in this, so
David Cross.
David Cross.
Yeah. But still, like
Mark Ruffalo.
I think even
Mark Ruffalo, David Cross.
David
there
Cross.
you go. There's a cross right there.
David Cross performs two important functions in this movie. He smokes a joint and he builds a birdhouse. That's really all he does. But he's still
bitches in the background.
Go to the party.
He goes to a party. He takes them to a party.
Bitches in the background constantly. He's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kirsten Dunst plays Mary, and she was obviously an interview with a vampire. She was a little girl.
Yep.
And the Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man trilogy, or at least the Sam Raimi one. Yep. And then Tom Wilkinson, the great Tom Wilkinson, who is always awesome, from Michael Clayton, and he was in Batman Begins, also in a million other things. He plays Dr. I'm going to try to say this, Merzuak. Was it Merzuak?
Merziak?
Yeah, let's just go with that. Dr. Merzuak.
Yeah. I can't remember how they said it in the movie.
He is the... So let's
just watch some of it.
Let's go right in from there. So the movie begins, right? Basically with Jim Carrey's character Joel
waking up,
right? And he feels this urge to take a sick day. He calls out of work and he just takes a train to Montauk, right? They're on Long Island. He takes a train to Montauk.
I think it's food poisoning. Yeah. It's a good there's like this whole
with a gust of wind in the background.
The one-sided conversation with whoever he's talking to on the phone. It's like every supervisor has heard this conversation before.
I've heard it before many times. I've heard it before many times.
But I got to say, that's probably the first day he missed. He seems like the type of guy that's there every day.
He's there every day.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's why it's a quick conversation.
Yeah.
Because on the other end, they're going, Joel doesn't ever. He must be sick.
He must be sick. Sorry.
No. I think it's just food poisoning. I'll see you tomorrow.
So he decides to take a train, and on the train, he meets Clementine. Right. Clementine, again, she's a free-spirited girl.
You meet her on the train. He sees her.
Well, he sees her before.
Right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She's trying to get his attention.
Right. They go to the beach. Right. Mm-hmm. They meet each other at the station. She tries to get his attention. Mm. He's very much a repressed guy. He's one of these guys that if a girl came over and took her shirt off and jumped on him, he would not get that it was a thing for him. So they're on the train together, and they start to make small talk conversation, right?
Yep.
Clementine,
Because of her.
Because of her. Clementine
Because she's so nice.
She's not just so nice. She's very
fucking hot.
Yeah.
Just say it.
Incredible.
She's
She is
just
hot.
fucking hot.
She is hot. She's very much like in a real situation. You might not believe that this girl really wanted to talk to you, and she also makes comments about that. Like, like she starts talking to him, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was too forward." She knows that's kind of her personality.
Yeah.
And he's very reserved. But in the course of the train ride, which turns into a ride home, correct? Back to her house, they form this connection. And as you're watching the movie, you're just thinking you're watching two people meeting for the first time.
Right.
Yep.
Right? You're thinking this is like how this relationship starts. And if you didn't know anything about this movie going into it, it's very much so far a very standard rom-com, straightforward
movie.
beginning.
Straightforward, only with two very disparate personalities.
Correct. Right. Yeah. It might be a weird, like an indie.
But you don't suspect anything out of the
You
ordinary.
suspect nothing out of the ordinary.
You certainly do not.
It's going in steps as to
Right.
how the relationship's progressing.
Right.
So then how would you describe it, Chris, how this movie takes a complete turn on its head going into the credits?
I think right as the credits come up.
Right as the credits come up.
Yeah, they broke up.
It's him in the car freaking out.
Yeah.
Crying.
Well,
First 18 minutes.
You get that one weird scene right beforehand where
Elijah Wood's
just
character
tapping on the window.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you
doing
doing
here?
here?
Yeah.
And
What
that's
who are
the end
you?
of the
Yeah.
first section
It's
of the
just
movie.
Right.
This weird thing that this guy comes up and just taps on his window as he's waiting for her to come back out of the building.
And it's a completely confounding moment to Joel.
Right.
It's completely confounding to us, too.
Yeah, and to the
which,
viewer.
again, when this movie ends and we get through everything, it's going to make sense.
And it's more of a defining moment when you get back around to the
Oh,
end.
absolutely. Absolutely.
It's like one of those, the end is the beginning is the end.
Yeah.
Can we just say who the scriptwriter was for this?
Oh, I just want to bring this up. It's kind of funny because so far we've done, I don't know, I'm going to just say maybe 8 or 9 episodes of the Pint Movie Invitational. We've covered 2 John Carpenter movies, which you figure is going to happen with some of the crew we hang out with. Somehow, within the first 10, we've already covered Charlie Kaufman twice.
Yeah.
Right? We did the episode with Jerry Morgan for adaptation, which I want to bring up again. At the end of this, we'll score this. It's the only one John has given a 0 to so far.
Yeah.
Charlie Kaufman, who wrote Being John Malkovich and adaptation,
And honestly, this is the other thing I forget. I forget that he wrote this too. So his name comes up on the screen, and I'm like, God damn, another Charlie Kaufman movie.
not only wrote this, but this, he wrote this along with a guy named Pierre
Frodel.
Bismuth.
Yeah, that's a friend of Michel.
A friend of Michel Gondry, who was the director and co-writer.
Yeah.
So the 3 of them wrote the story. I think Charlie Kaufman wrote the screenplay.
Yeah.
This screenplay won Best Original Oscar the next year. Best Original.
Deservedly so.
Yeah. Not
Really?
This movie won. The only other Oscar that at least in terms of major
I'm trusting
awards,
him on this.
it won Best Original.
It's not like Suicide Squad, where it's like for best costumes.
The only other Oscar that had even got nominated for was Kate Winslet got nominated for Best Actress, and she did not win.
Okay.
Well, she did deserve it.
She did.
She
She
did.
was very good.
So anyway, we get to the point now where he's freaking out. They've broken up,
Yeah.
and kind of give us where we're getting into the meat of this movie. What's happening?
He finds out that
Accidentally.
that she erased him from her memory. So he gets
Well, the next scene is we see him go to her wherever she's working, I guess.
Yes.
I think it was a Brentano's.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, "Hello, sir. Can I help you?"
Yeah,
And he's
ignores
like,
him.
"What do you mean? Can I? You're my girlfriend."
Yeah. He goes to her work.
completely-
which he doesn't even get those out. He's
No,
just
no.
like he sees that
He's so dumbfounded.
Oh, and then that's
interested
when
in
yeah.
Elijah Wood shows
Yeah.
up.
Some other faceless character
Yeah.
who you
Yeah.
never see.
right.
He goes.
Yeah, some guy. It's like, who the hell is this guy?
He goes after a breakup to see her at work, as we've all done at some point in our life with a little gift for the girlfriend. And I'll tell you, this one scene, not you, I know, you don't live a normal life. Everybody else here who's lived a normal life has done at some point.
those of us
I
with a
don't
heart.
go with gifts.
Okay, well, whatever. Gone to see. I tasted this guy's pain. Because, I mean, imagine the girl you've been dating for a year or whatever it is between the two of them. He goes up and she, on his end, not on hers. On hers, she generally does not know this guy. She genuinely does not know him anymore.
And she pulls it off where as a viewer you're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Why is she?
Wow, she's really
She's just not.
ghosting
She's not.
him.
She's
right.
committed to this.
She's not play acting.
Right.
She literally does not know
Right.
who he is.
She's ghosting him. She doesn't know who he is, and she's like kind of making out with another dude in front of him.
Right.
yeah.
I could taste his pain. Jim Carrey was. I was surprised that Carey didn't get nominated for this movie when I was looking at it, because he really is good in this movie. I've always liked him anyway. I admit, I like Jim Carrey.
I still do, yeah.
No, I do too.
I think he really came across just as this guy that, like, you know, you kind of see him opening up through the course of the movie. And, so he finds out.
But it also, I would like to add that it's Valentine's Day. It's
Valentine's Day 2004, right?
That's why he has the gift. He's, you know,
right.
He's like, I'm going to give this to her as a peacekeeper. Yeah. It burns. No.
Okay. So he goes, this happens. He ends up finding out through friends of his, David Cross and David Cross's girlfriend or wife.
Yeah, Jane Adams.
That they have gotten
those two
a letter. Yeah, they're pretty funny.
What a pair they are.
They seem like they'd be high maintenance to be around. And, a lot of yelling at each other.
And we're not sure, like, they're just friends of his?
Is it his sister?
I thought it was his sister.
I don't know. They never say so.
I thought she had some bigger connection to him.
He actually does say that he went to the beach with some friends, so I'm assuming it's just his friends.
And it's so weird when they get into the whole sniping at each other constantly and that letter that shows up. It's
so
like, what
they
is going
pull
on
out a
here?
letter and show it to him, which they were not supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically, Clementine goes to this place called Lacuna.
Yep.
That's right.
Which
Lacuna, which every time they say this name, I think of this weird
Lacuna Coil.
No, there was this really weird comic book sized magazine that I used to sell 20 some odd years ago in the comic store that I ran out in Chicago, and it was a TNA type of thing. It's called Lacunae.
Lacunae.
Yeah.
A-E.
They
say,
titties. Was it Lacuna means lake?
Yeah, I read that. Yeah,
Is that what
lake.
it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lake, or I think it means lake or crater created by a lake, which is supposed to be the idea
Definitely
of
a
a crater
crater.
left in your memory. So she went there, and it's weird because this is just treated like it's a thing that happens. You know what I mean? It's just, that's the science fiction element. Almost is like this is like nobody's weirded out by the fact that people could do this.
Yeah,
they're just like, I want it done.
Right.
So she goes.
It's like a dentist's office where people are sitting in there.
And there's actually some sad stuff. Like there's the lady with her dog's bowl and the bone, and you know, you get all these people, and you get this sense of they're just all trying to forget in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. But I was going to say, talking about Kirsten Dunst, her acting in that, you're like, she's overwhelmed. She's, you know, basically the only secretary.
Yeah.
But when the doctor comes in, you know,
the
looking,
nuances. Yeah, the nuances that she has.
Well, the nuances, and they also pay off in the end.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. That's why I don't want to get into
her
it.
entire character pays off in the end. Because you kind of get this feeling, and then
she's kind of a linchpin to the plot.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, So we find out that you go to Lacuna to have your memories erased of one particular person, and then Lacuna gives out these cards if you were involved in their lives, saying, and it basically says, it says Clementine Krasinski has had Joel Barish erased from her memory. Please do not mention the relationship to her ever again.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they don't really say it, but we see it through the course of the movie that memories can start to cause things to happen,
Right.
or at least being talked to about it. Can start to jog things, even though it's gone.
It's a big sci-fi trope about memories and memory erasure. And
well, it's like the idea
of
a computer. You can't erase anything.
Right.
It just breaks it up and puts it in different places.
Right.
And that's what this feels like.
And I enjoyed where they went with it.
So we move on from there.
But no card for the guy who's been erased.
Well, of course not.
No, but he just...
Well, they got to assume actually that
I don't think they thought this out well enough. Is what I'm getting at.
You're right.
You're right. I hate to call it a plot hole. It's more of a.
Other people know, but he doesn't know.
Right. There's a gap there that you have
because
to deal
she specifically went there to erase him from her memory.
Right.
So if he knows about.
It's technically not a secret, though.
But on the other hand, for an organization like this, which obviously is not some major money-making operation.
No, they're in a dentist's office.
It's tiny. It's cramped.
They've got to hire guys like Mark Ruffalo.
Right. I mean, these guys just. I mean, you're obviously looking at the bottom of the barrel here, and this is a company that's trying to get off the ground.
Oh, come on! That wasn't a rickety van that they were in.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. I gotta return the van. What's it? A Hertz rental here? Is there rent a wreck? Is that what it is? Yeah. But I forgot where I was going with this.
The memory wipe.
The memory wipe. It's just a way for them to get the other side to come in and pay the other half of the bill.
Right.
So here's a guy that goes, "Oh, she did it. I want to do it too,"
and it works.
Which is basically what happens.
It totally works. So Joel ends up going and. deciding to get his memory erased. And that's where the meat of this movie takes place, is actually in his head.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we skip ahead a little bit, Chris, right? And what is next? What is going on now?
Oh man. And I just saw this too.
Mark Ruffalo shows up in that hideous little white van.
Yeah, he gets prepared for having these people come by and
He has to bring in all his pictures
Right,
and
that's
any-
right. Oh,
anything
that's
that
interview, that's
reminds
right.
That's a big thing
Yeah,
for
it's-
this movie. Honestly, when you get into
that helps the scrubbers.
right.
Yes.
Right.
These
Yeah,
these
I got
folks
ahead of that.
Yeah, the folks that do the work need all the information to find it in your memory.
Yeah.
To bring everything to someone, everything.
Yeah.
All of her belongings that he
Anything to
Right,
remind you
yeah.
of her. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gut wrenching. I don't know if you guys have done that, but I have.
Not just gut wrenching. I felt that when because I'd forgotten about that part of the movie. It's been a long time since I'd seen it. But when he tells tells Joel, you have to go and get everything, and they show the scene where he's just filling up garbage bags.
Everything.
I thought, what a fucking, especially if you didn't know you had to do that.
Yeah.
What a job, especially if someone's been like living with you
Yeah.
kind of for like a couple
every
years.
piece of clothing,
Right,
Every
every
picture.
Piece of paper. There's a scene
Every
later in the movie.
Post-it
Oh yeah, there's a scene. Yeah,
There's a scene later in the
Post-it note,
movie
yeah.
where he finds one of the painting. And he says, "I found something," Because he
Drawings
gets rid
that
of
he's had in
everything.
his notebooks.
Yeah, he gets rid of everything.
Yep.
So they take that, they map it into the computer, old school. They map
Remind
it
me
in.
of this at the end of the show.
Okay,
And,
map everything in, and then what? They show up at his house, and what do we do next?
They get him comfortable. They give him this big helmet.
It looks like a
colander.
Like a
Yeah,
colander.
colander, yeah. It's sort of like what Doc Brown had in Back to the Future.
Yes.
And
Body.
and then basically, yeah, they start
Start to scrubbing.
the scrubbing.
They start the scrubbing, and
yeah.
it's Stan, Mark Ruffalo, along with Patrick. Who at this
Patrick.
point, Patrick starts talking about how he has a girlfriend,
Yes,
and
he's
he's desperate to get out of working that night because he wants to see his girlfriend. And
he's very heavy with the conversation. I got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
a girlfriend. I
It's-
got a girlfriend. I got to go tonight.
he's
Maybe
very,
I can't be
he's
Stan.
very annoying. He's an annoying, shitty character, but I mean, he
Asperger's,
serves a
maybe?
he serves a purpose. That's for sure.
Stan is there to do the job, and
Right.
he's just like, all right, whatever.
Well, he's
Can you
also
just
there to
sub me
kind of
up
smoke some
himself?
weed and fuck Kirsten
Yeah.
Dunst,
Yeah,
but you know, you
It's-
could do that while you're erasing a memory.
That's true.
Yeah,
I mean, basically, the machine does the work.
yes,
You know.
yeah.
As long as it follows the pattern,
Yes.
which this movie does not.
It does not. So Lloyd, they come to do this now. Where is the tonal shift in this movie? Once we get the helmet on Jim Carrey, the entire movie starts to take place where?
In his head, like in his memories while he's being scrubbed.
What we see is from the very end. The end of their relationship
Right.
to the beginning, backwards.
Yeah.
Right.
The freshest memories to the longest memories
Yeah.
go. We start seeing them scrub these memories.
He's sort of, the movie kind of plays out him living these memories, but also hearing these conversations that the doctor or the scrubbers are having
he's
with
been
each
given
other.
a drug, so he's unconscious,
Right.
but he's also semi-aware of what's going on around.
He's
him.
semi-aware, and he's also maybe the first one fighting this process.
Well,
Yes.
that's
He gets to a point where he's actually starting to fight this process.
Right.
And
that happens during the situation.
right.
Yeah.
One of the things that I thought was really cool about this movie, so you go into his head, right? And you realize that most of this movie takes place inside this character's head from that point forward. You
Yes.
do come out when you're dealing with Tom Wilkinson, and we do see a little bit more of
Tom Wilkinson.
Right.
Who's
Like
also
when he's
English,
hidden,
by the
when
way.
he's hidden so
Yeah.
deep that Mark Ruffalo can't find him.
right. Mark Ruffalo can't
He
find
calls
him.
the doctor.
But what I find interesting in this
After
movie
he's
is
banged Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smoked weed.
Smoke weed, and they
left
dance,
beer bottles everywhere.
and they dance on the bed next to. I didn't get that part because they certainly seemed like they were
Their
trying to
disease
work,
out.
but they were so high it
They're
didn't
partying
matter.
up a storm.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to clean the entire apartment before Wilkinson shows
Yeah,
up.
yeah. But what I was going to say was what
Did
I thought
you
was
know
really
Joel Barish is
interesting.
a heavy drinker and
right.
smokes weed?
You only see the actual real Clementine a few times in the movie
Yeah.
because everything's in his
Right,
head.
everything else
and
is-
every single conversation that they start to have in his head that's not memory. That is when they start to interact. It's
Yeah.
him talking to himself through
Exactly.
her voice.
Yes.
And I think I ended up after I was thinking about
remembering
that.
situations, but usually when we remember situations, we, don't
We remember in our own
correctly.
voice.
Yes,
Right. You know, you might remember what someone said, but then you tilted a certain way.
Yeah.
And I was reading, I think, about the movie, and I think it said the actual Clementine character is only featured in like 15 minutes of the movie,
of
where
the
it's
movie.
actually her,
Yeah.
not a memory that Joel has or a component of Joel's imagination, basically. But also I didn't realize just watching it.
Now, who told you that?
I don't know. I read it somewhere.
Yeah. See, that's where I would agree with you on what you said earlier on. That's what you're going to take out of the movie.
Right.
You read that because someone wrote that as a person viewing the movie and saying this character's only in this many parts of the film itself. That's her and not his memory of her.
Right.
I would disagree with that.
You're telling me there's more of the character of her than the memory. You're absolutely wrong. You're totally wrong.
I would completely disagree.
80% of this movie,
the first
80%
15
of this
minutes,
movie takes place in his head.
Regardless of whether it's in his head or not, it's still the character.
But
it's
still,
the character.
hold on.
How he's perceiving it is different.
Right.
So here's the thing: the scenes where he takes her,
everything you're seeing is how you're perceiving it. So it's not.
But what I'm saying is, the scenes where he takes her deep into the memory.
Right.
That's not her. That's him.
Right. That's his memory
That's him.
or his.
See, now
his
I'm going to disagree with
dream
you
of
there.
her.
How are you going to disagree with that?
How am I going to disagree with it?
All right.
Easily.
Let me just say this. All right. In the context of the movie, let's say this situation right now is in my head, and I'm looking at the situation like, man, John was pissed.
It's neither me or John. It's in your head.
Right.
Right.
But my memory of it is, man, they were fighting.
No, I get
Right?
you.
No, so
I get it.
Here it is.
I get it.
I'm replaying it as you guys fighting.
Right.
But you're just passionate about your point, but it depends on how you look at it. You know what I mean?
Which is why I'm saying I'm
maybe-
going back to what you were saying originally.
Right, but then...
All right, let's move past this.
All right, wow.
All right,
sorry.
it's fine.
We'll cut that out.
No, I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to cut that out.
Fucker in there.
I'm not going to cut that out.
No, but that's what I mean. Like,
Don't scrub that.
Every time I see this movie, I see something different, and I can see your side of it. I can see his side.
I do think there's a ton of the actual memory that's her.
I don't like other people telling me what the movie is. That's what I'm saying.
Right, but I still feel like there are certain bits, 100%, that are not meant to be Clementine Krasinski. It's him.
Sure, I'm not disagreeing with you.
It's him and his idealized
But don't tell me
version.
how many fucking minutes there are with her. That's some asshole sitting on the sidelines going, "Oh, this script is just so many characters, and only so many characters are the real characters."
Well, technically, even if you thought about the movie itself,
That's any movie.
No, it's a movie that takes place in a dream.
See, that's
All right. You're just gonna be.
we're talking fantasy here. So
Okay.
Right. Science fiction.
All right, we're in the dream. I was going to say this. This is something else I didn't notice, and this did happen. As the memories start to go backwards, her hair color changes constantly, and this is something I didn't realize about this movie because I will give him credit. It looks great. She wore wigs throughout this movie.
Yes.
She did not dye her hair because they couldn't dye it fast enough to go back and
colors,
forth.
yeah.
All those colors.
if they were smart, they would have dyed. They would have done the scenes with one color at one point.
They did not. But what I'm saying
I'm
is,
sure they had no idea how they were going to.
There's a ton of times in movies that I think wigs are obvious. I thought she looked like it was her real hair.
No, I would agree with you because
there was one scene where she was wearing an obvious wig to me. It was later when they both became little kids, and she was kind of with the dead bird.
Oh, yeah.
When she was like the mother character.
Yes.
And she had the blonde wig.
Yes.
That obviously was a wig. But I mean, when she has the different dyed colored hair jobs,
she was the mom. No,
she wasn't the mom at that point. She was holding his hand as an adult.
Yeah.
But she had a blonde wig on, and it was
redhead.
No, she had a total blonde wig on. Because then
as the little girl.
As the little girl. But she was an adult as the little girl.
Yeah,
as the cowgirl.
Right.
So we start to go through the memories, and we start to erase every single memory, going backwards to forwards.
Yeah.
To beginning. And at a certain point, Joel decides what? He decides that this is not what he wants to do.
No, yeah, he wants to cancel it, and they realize. They say we got to go to a deep memory where they can't find us. Right. Like
the scene on the couch.
She says, we'll just go to a part of your memories where they can't find us, because it's all where I'm not,
They're trying to avoid.
Yeah,
he's actively fighting.
He is actively fighting.
He's actively fighting
the erasure, and he's dragging her along as he goes.
Right, two memories where she would not be in, so he can go undetected.
So prior to him meeting her and that sort of what was the word? Humiliation.
Yeah,
humiliation.
He takes her to a memory of him getting caught whacking off by his mother.
Yeah,
and what I love about it too,
it was multiple humiliations. Though.
Yes. Oh, where there's the one where he's a little kid and he's being bullied into killing an animal.
It was
a bird in a wagon.
The whole thing in the kitchen is. He's a kid that just hooked to the hip of his mother, and his mother actually says so at some point.
Right.
She goes, "Can you watch him for a second? He really likes to be around me. I don't know why." And she
she's
disappears.
a family friend,
right? So she's the family friend, and she
looked hot in that outfit too,
smoking hot.
Yeah.
In that 60, the
really
go-go boots and the skirt.
I like the way, even though he's at this point, and again, this was a forced perspective,
yes. Right? Exactly.
Where he's like a little kid under the table,
and he's him, and he's also
4-year-old, and he's 4 years old, and he's acting but he understands what's happening to a point, and for her to snap him back into thinking she shows him her crotch under the dress, like
look,
her
it's my
panties.
Crotch. Yes, thank you.
Yes,
there's the memory he brings her
grabbing
to
the huge cookie. Which is just normal size.
Did it all for the cookie.
Being bathed in the sink. He's reaching back deep and far.
Yeah.
And then I think he does that first. Then he brings her to the humiliation memories.
Yeah.
Because they catch him there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, and
that's when Tom
Wilkinson.
It's too much ginger brandy. Tom Wilkinson shows up at some point and is trying to chase him down through his mind.
Yeah.
And he can find him quicker than Mark Ruffalo's Stan.
Stan's a little stoned.
Stan's a little... Oh, God, they both are. Stan and Mary.
Yeah.
And Mary. And Dr. Mirjrak is obviously...
I was going to say, I'd rather try and say
Mary,
his name over her last name.
Svevzi? Yeah.
Oof.
Mary, you're here too. Oh, hi, Mary.
Yeah. Well, and then we're in the outside world there, and we realize that Mary is acting very much towards Dr. Mirjrak. Even though she just boned down with Stan, who's definitely much closer in her age range.
To the point where we saw his ass crack.
We did see his ass crack. But you definitely get a feeling that she has some kind of weird...
He definitely does now.
Some weird
affinity towards him.
Right. You're a genius, and she starts to quote off poetry, and she's trying to impress him.
She was saying that...
He's like, I heard that one
early
before.
On, she's like,
that's a good one.
Call the doctor. Call him. And he's like, no, we don't need him.
I pretty much got the feeling that she did this whole thing hoping he would be there.
Exactly.
Why she showed up.
And I love how she handled... creepy boy.
Oh, Patrick.
She's just and Patrick
brushes him off,
and he says too. He's like, I don't think Mary likes me, and she's totally right because she's a creep.
Yeah. Well, you figured that one out.
Let's get into why Patrick is a creep real quick before we get back into Joel's memories. Why is Patrick a creep?
Oh my God! Well, he was involved in scrubbing Clementine's own memory and fell in love with her.
How? But what? But so he falls in love with her.
That's not love.
He takes Joel's stuff.
This is what he told. This is what he said.
So he ends up dating her. We find out that Patrick.
And what did he do?
Exactly. How does Patrick? What's the word? Endear himself to Clementine.
I think you're going to have to ask someone else.
Did you forget?
I'm forgetting the details.
Okay, Chris.
He steals the memories of Joel. He takes
steals
the stuff that reminded Joel
more
of
than that.
Clementine. No, and that's
he stole her panties. Right?
He does steal her panties.
There we go, Lloyd.
All right, that's the detail you're looking for.
Yeah,
he said that in the beginning.
I didn't say that.
No.
He did that early on.
He said that early on.
No, they weren't dirty or anything.
No, they were clean.
Yeah. And the relationship between Stan and Patrick is this weird, let's just get the work done. God, you're creepy. Shut up. Do the work.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Why are you being such a creep?
Co-workers.
Yeah.
Right? Co-workers.
And then as Mark Ruffalo, like, oh, you want to leave? Good. Someone's coming here so I can fuck her on this guy's couch.
He basically has the babysitter coming over. He's the babysitter and the boyfriend's coming over.
Yeah.
To bang on the couch. So you've got Joel on the inside having his memories erased.
Dentist office.
He's fighting to not have these memories erased. Now on the outside you got the actual Clementine, and she's had Joel erased, and she's dating Patrick, but she has all these urges to do things that seem very Joel centric. She wants to go up to the Charles River in Boston where it's frozen and lay on the river with Patrick, which is something that she did with Joel early on in their relationship. And you assume
there's trace memories.
Yeah. And you start to realize that Patrick is using Joel's bags of shit to ingratiate himself with her, but it is also rattling around the leftover ghost memories of Joel for her as well.
He's using Joel's words.
Actual words.
Yeah, actual words. Because he took the diary pages that
that's
he ripped out.
right.
Yeah.
Where he says later, I don't remember ripping these out.
Yeah. He
Like 2
lays.
years.
Yeah.
There's 2 years missing.
Yeah,
from
I
his
have 2 years
notebooks.
missing in my notebooks.
It's a smartly written script for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He says to her,
That's why this movie needs several rewatches.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
That's-
I've only seen it the one time since we were going to do this, and I feel like I need to go watch it again immediately.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Chris, how many times have you seen it?
More than 5, less than 10, around that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you two have.
Yeah, one.
This was my second time the other night.
I mean, I saw it.
And second time literally 15 years later. But
Yeah.
Here's why. More than 20.
Whoa.
You have?
Yes, I have.
More than 20. I don't think I've seen anything more than 20 times.
I have.
Oh, I have.
Wait. So is this because you love this movie, or you had someone in your life that loved this movie and you watched it with that person a lot?
Do we want to finish the movie first and then move on to that? Sure.
Yeah, let's finish the movie. Let's finish the movie. So,
I just wanted to say, how many times has anyone seen this? And I've seen it, yes, more than 20 times.
Okay. One of the details we haven't gotten into yet in terms of while we're in Joel's memory and things are being erased is how things are being erased. As he's in memories, you get these glimpses of people in the background. Their faces are blurred, as you would forget things like that.
When he sees the doctor, he has no features.
He has no features on his face.
Well, he jumped into a memory that was already erased, as they said.
Right.
As they were erasing.
Right. It was already blown apart. How did he go? How did he end up there?
How did he get back there?
Right. Because he's starting to figure things out. But also, like when they're on the street or they're eating dinner at a Chinese restaurant, the sets disassemble around them.
Yeah,
John mentioned earlier on when we were talking, you said the books, right? You really
I love the book scene where
in the library.
The bookstore.
The bookstore, yeah.
Where all the books just suddenly go white behind you.
Yeah.
So all the books are still on the shelves, but they're all white.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of those. So yeah.
He's eating dinner with her at the Chinese restaurant that they're both bored of, and that's part of it. And then all of a sudden she's
Why
gone.
are we here again? Yeah.
She's gone. He's walking around with the chopsticks, and then everything's gone.
Well, the opening credits had the same feature.
Well,
I don't know if you recall, but the names in the opening credits would fade out.
Sure. Yeah,
later at
they
a
did
time.
that.
Yeah.
And a lot of what you got when he's dragging her through memories, it's blackened on either side, so it's a very narrow scope of what you're looking at.
Yes.
It's excellent camera work. It's excellent camera direction.
Yeah.
So
Really, I wonder how Michel Gondry conceived of this in his mind and put it on screen.
This is where I would say
Like a dream.
the camera director and the cameraman at the time of filming it.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the people you need to talk to.
Yeah,
rather
like
than the director.
the part where Joel is watching himself.
Where are those
being-
names, Mr. Armenta?
Oh, I didn't write those down. I did actually read, though. I was reading about the movie, and it said that he has a unique, I don't know if it was just for this movie or all of his movies, where he uses like a headset with, as opposed to like how normal directors do it.
Right.
He talks to individual people on certain things in a different
that's
way.
cool.
In a different way, where he can tell this person, I need you to do this right at this moment, and this has to happen. I mean, as we mentioned, I think you mentioned, these effects are not all CGI. These are happening.
Yeah, they're practical
practical effects, and a lot of it is in-camera trickery. The scene, I wanted to bring this up, the scene where it's Jim Carrey in the memory watching himself being erased, it's not a body double. He gets up and leaves the chair.
Yeah.
And they film it, so you never know he's not. He's never in the same place. Obviously, it's not a stand-in.
Yeah.
He's watching, and then when they move the camera, he gets back in the chair, gets the helmet on, and then when they move it back, he gets out and gets the helmet off again.
It's pretty wild, yeah.
Yeah.
So, some of these things are really wild. It's an amazing film overall.
Yeah.
Not just from the story aspect of it, but from
Technical
aspects. Yeah. And that's the thing I hate about some of these movies that we talk about. We never talk about the technical aspect of anything other than Star Wars. But this movie is incredible on the technical aspect.
It is.
So,
I enjoy
and
the
when
hell
they're
out
at
of
the
it.
beach house, like later on, right towards the end, and it just starts of
falling apart.
collapsing
Yeah.
behind him.
Itself.
My wife walked into the room at that point. I was watching it.
did she
And
not
she's-
watch it with you?
No, she was busy, but she came and she watched like the last 15 minutes, and I had to pause it. She goes, "What? Why is that?" She goes, "Oh, is this an earthquake or something?" I'm like, no.
They're
Right,
acting
let me
pretty
pause
normal.
it because I need to explain something to you. And I gave her like a quick 2-minute synopsis. She totally got it. And then she started watching it, and I think she was extremely impressed and also wanted to watch the whole movie.
Lindsay sat next to me the whole time I watched this and barely looked up. I was amazed. I'm like, I'm finally watching a movie that I think maybe we're on the same. And I didn't bother her because I really wanted to just watch it. And it was 2 days before we were recording, and I wanted to get it done with. And I did want to see it.
I want to get it done.
Well, no, but I mean, it's
you have to get it done with to get.
It's your fault, Frodel.
No. But I also
can't watch it 2 weeks ago and then podcast.
I don't want to watch it 2 weeks ago because I want it to be fresh, and I don't want to do what I did with. Like Frankenstein and the Mummy, and try to watch them in one night where the Mummy is just a fucking blur.
Mr. Amenta, do you have your homework? Yeah, I'll have it. Yeah, sure.
My dogs ate it. Okay, so let's
all have homework for the podcast here. That's
we
how
do.
it works.
We do. So let's kind of get into, I guess, the home stretch of the idea of what's happening in the movie. So Joel is actively fighting against this brain erasure, and we kind of get to the point where we end up in the first memory that they have, the day they met.
Yep.
And at this point,
which we had never
saw.
Wait a minute. Before that, I think it's very important. I think it's when they're in the beach house, when it's all falling apart around them and they know they have to do something. He's like, how are we going to meet? And she goes, go to Montauk.
Right. Go to Montauk, yeah. She whispers it in his ear. Go to Montauk.
Go to Montauk. Tells him,
Who the hell wants to go to Montauk?
This is the point we've got to meet at again.
Beach.
Yeah.
Right. I know, right? Oh.
So,
and when she says that, I think for me anyway,
sorry, Montauk,
it did click because you do see the sign in the very beginning that does say Montauk right on the
right. You knew that was where. So,
and it was at that point
it's called out on the tram line. And everything. Yeah. Montauk. It's all Montauk.
Yeah. So he actively is fighting against this, and
we lost Montauk.
They have their first memory meeting on the beach. We find out the circumstances of their meeting is that they're at a friend's party. He's living with a girl that he obviously doesn't give a shit about, and he kind of intones that it might already be over anyway.
Yeah,
and she's very much as she was the first time we met, which was not the first time now, on the train. Mm-hmm. Very free-spirited. Very talkative to this guy who is otherwise, he's at a party and he's sitting 40, yards away eating, his barbecue chicken on a step by himself because he's that guy. And she, out of all the people there, she's standing by the surf, not talking to anybody else.
He says three things in that line when he sees her. He sees her immediately by herself wearing an orange sweatshirt. He calls it. It's an orange hoodie. And then he says, I came to hate that orange thing. Which drove... I don't remember... In all the viewings I've ever seen of this movie, I don't remember him ever saying that. Or that I don't... I probably do remember it, but I don't remember it. Because it's been a while since I've watched it. Fucking horrible thing to say. And it really defines exactly what the relationship is.
Well, I mean, that's a point we haven't really talked about yet. Is that this isn't the story of a... Obviously, there's a reason. There's a reason she wants him erased. There's a reason he ends up wanting her erased.
Well, he's a fucking pussy, but
he's a pussy, but he doesn't. Even at the end, even though he's hurt that she did this, when you see the end of their relationship and realize these two people were not happy with each other,
right?
And they were, he's at the point where he's calling her a slut. Even though he has no real reason to.
No reason for it.
She's
late one
She
night.
came home late, and he's saying she's spreading her legs.
I love the damage to his car that goes through the entire movie that she caused.
Yes.
And he keeps thinking it's the neighbor.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. She's very kind of she's mean to him, in terms of him being kind of a quiet, a pushover. He's a boring pushover.
She's difficult.
She's difficult. So
but she says it right up front.
Right.
Every single time. She's like, I'm not your typical... I'm not a concept.
Right. Yeah, I'm not a concept, exactly. The procedure is over, and now in the outside world, some shit has happened. What has happened in the outside world, Chris, in terms of with our team of doctors and that group?
Yeah, the real fuck-up.
Right.
We find out that the good doctor had Mary's memories wiped.
Yeah. Because he was fucking her.
Yeah, he was fucking her. And it all comes together when his wife...
Oh, no, well, we can assume there was actually... I was reading a short list of deleted screenplay parts there was actually this is actually was supposed to, it was in a test audience and they cut it because they said it went too far. He also had her have an abortion and erased it from her memory.
Yeah.
So they said we can't do that. That's going a little bit too far.
It's not in the movie.
I'm saying it's not part of the story, but at one point it was
not in the movie that I saw.
But in the movie that you saw, the wife says you already had a relationship.
We know as much as that.
Right. Yeah. He fucked her. I mean, or
they had some kind of affair.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Well, it's a
what other kind of affair is there? Are you like talking about 1930s affair?
There's an emotional affair.
Yeah,
that's it.
Like I really love you there, Lovey.
No, I understand what he's saying, but I will say there's certain things that like
doesn't always have to be sex.
I'm not saying that test audiences are right.
Yeah, it does.
But usually the test audiences they determine what is a better ending.
It was a
better concept.
It was a better ending, and it would have vilified him way too much.
Right.
That's
way
topic.
Too much.
That's a topic for some night.
Yeah.
What? Oh, my dog's back out again.
There we go.
Right. All right, so
you want to have them scrubbed?
No.
Well, that's what I would like to talk about.
Okay.
Once we get to the end of the movie.
Yeah. So we get to the general end of the movie. So Mary, who has learned that she's been scrubbed from Dr. Mirzhevitz because they either had a John Old 30 style affair of "Hi there, kid," or they were fucking. Whatever one happened, she obviously gets really pissed off.
A fork and a pop.
She gets pissed off.
Wow.
She ends up talking to Stan and saying, "Did you know anything about this?" And he seems like he. I would like to think Stan had nothing to do with it. It was probably Patrick.
He honestly looked like
he looked hurt.
And the explanation he had, I saw this.
Yeah,
right.
I assumed,
and it seemed like things, but I couldn't. He, as creepy as he might be, he's nowhere near as creepy as Patrick.
Right. He's not a Patrick.
Right.
So we end up finding out at this point that the beginning of the movie is their second meeting. As non-strangers who think they're strangers. And it ends, in terms of that whole scene, it ends where it ended the first time. He's dropping her off to get her toothbrush because they've hit it off so well. They hit it off so well that they're going to go back and spend the night together. Patrick knocks on the door and goes, now you know why.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Because Patrick's looking at it as if, like, why is this guy back in her life again?
No. What he said was, "Who are you?"
Yeah, who are you?
So makes me think that Patrick's brain was wiped.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, really?
See?
That's why I'm saying I have to watch this
Who Are You?
again and again.
I thought he said, "What are you doing here?"
No, he did. He's like, "Who are you? Why are you here?"
Oh, okay.
The first time I saw the movie, I thought that when we got to the end of the movie, that was the third time around, and the first time around, as we were opening the movie up, was the second time around.
Okay.
And it just followed the same thing.
Again, I know you're going to say not part of the movie, but another one of the deleted. It never made it to the actual screen. The original screenplay was at the end. You find out they've been doing this for like 50 years, and you can kind of see that. I mean,
that's the whole point of the movie. We will still make the same decisions over and over. It's predetermined.
He drops her off. She goes to get the toothbrush. She comes back out. They go back to his house.
You're ruining the movie.
No.
You're strangely being a romantic when, in fact, this movie is only going to end up one way.
You have no idea what I think about this movie because I've never told you.
You kind of did by your attitude right there.
No, you're telling me
stuff.
These things that never actually were in the movie don't make a fucking difference when it comes to the movie.
The actual movie. No, but even the actual movie at the end of this. Well, let's go around in a second and talk about that. So she, coming out of the house, ends up getting a letter. Mary, who obviously was betrayed by Dr. Mirzhevitz, has sent everybody.
She had every file stuffed in her car, in her tiny little Toyota Tercel.
We assume it's just her stuff. She got fired or she's leaving.
No, they show you.
No, you assume initially.
No, you assume initially she's, you got your stuff in the box.
And then
then she tosses it in the back of her car and you see all these files.
Everything.
Stan's like, oh, yeah, you got your stuff? Yeah. She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So Clementine gets the tape of her actually talking to Dr. Mirzhevitz about the process, which she doesn't know happened.
Right.
And Joel gets his tape. And they both, through different points in the plot, listen to these tapes and come to realize
in each other's presence
that they have lived this lifetime together.
Well, so she gets back in the car. They're going off back to his place.
Right.
And she's like, oh, I got this piece of mail from this place or whatever, and it came with a tape.
They
listen to the tape, and he's just like, what is this? And it's all the stuff that she told in her initial interview of why she wants him erased from her.
Right. It's all the things that after, I think they said it was 2 years.
Right.
After 2 years of a relationship, what she hates about him.
Yeah.
The things that in the beginning that were endearing, once in a while he rolls over and he farts, is now I fucking hate him for doing that. Or he does this or he does that.
Right. Everything's balled up in
in this ugly
tape.
little, this ugly
it's
little
like,
tape.
give me a list of things that you don't like about this person. And it's just like, it's not even drawn out. It's just like, here's
Right.
the top 10.
He kicks her out of the car.
At this point, or in the movie, like when they get in the car and they play that tape, this is now the continuation of the original scene until the credits.
If you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. I'm sure there's other ways of looking at it.
You can.
That's the way I look at it. That's the continuation of where the movie first stopped.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
That makes sense.
3 out of 4 agree.
I'm not saying that you're not wrong.
Yeah, no, I'm saying.
You just stop with that. Pick a side. So we end up going to his house. He's listening to his tape, which is the same thing. Now, this guy is enamored by this girl, and it's him going on about how she fucks everybody.
Yeah.
And it's his anger now.
Yeah.
And these two characters come together.
Well, the way she walks in, too, it's perfect. She hunts him down. She goes to his building.
His neighbor recognizes her.
Clementine.
The neighbor who you've met in passing 2 or 3 times in the movie is like, oh, hey, Clementine, go on in.
Yeah.
And she's like, has no clue who this guy is.
Who the fuck are you? Yeah.
So she goes in and what? Oh, Jesus Christ. How perfect is that?
Yeah. I'm drinking a Clementine Gose.
And then walks in on good old Joel there, who's listening to his tapes as they...
His is pretty harsh.
Yeah,
they're harsh.
They're fucking harsh. Yeah. And he wants to turn them off, and she goes, no. You got to listen to mine. I get to listen to yours.
Yes.
Right.
And they're worse.
Yeah.
Which probably answers why they were talking over it.
Yeah.
Like
which is great, though. It's
now?
honestly really good. The way they do that, the two of them talking over the background noise, and if you listen to what he's saying,
brutal.
it's fucking awful.
It's
and
brutal.
They're trying to be sweet
He's
in the
such a
the
piece
foreground.
of shit. He really is.
It's like every minor annoyance just amplified. It's just like
Her hair color is why is she's just trying to get attention?
Yeah, she's
Go
edgy
fuck
and
yourself,
this
you
and
piece
that.
of
Everything
shit.
he says he likes about her at the beginning is what he hates about her at the end.
Which is what she basically said the same thing.
And hers the same thing. It's again, it's that case of
Also, in that scene, you can also look at it like, oh no, I like your hair. I think your hair is nice.
Right.
As just being the nice guy.
Right.
Just like, I don't want to annoy the stranger.
Don't say nice.
Yeah,
Don't
nice
say
again.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice
Not
is
nice.
bad in this movie.
Yeah, she doesn't like being called nice.
Nice.
But I love the final scene, honestly, in the hallway.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Final scene in the hallway. Hold on.
Well, they're like, yeah, should we just call it quits now? And they basically decide, no, let's just go through this and see what
let's do
happens.
it.
And then they just laugh.
Yeah. Yep.
And it ends with a memory of them playing in the snow.
Yep.
Yes.
Right on the beach.
Yes.
They're
Yep.
you assume
Frolicking.
at some point. So let's go around. We'll do 2 things. We'll go into some box office numbers too, but let's do 2 things that we do. We'll grade it, and then I have a second part of the grade. So Chris, I want you to grade this on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being the worst, unless you want to go Johnson. We're going to call it Going Johnson. If you want to give something a 0, you can. It's called Going. No, you did. You gave a 0 to one of these movies.
Sorry, the movie was a 0.
Okay, so I'm saying on a scale, when there's a scale of 1 to 5 and you go to 0, it's going to a Johnson. Chris,
he's not good with lists.
What would you give this movie on a scale of 1 to 5?
I think I have to say 5.
5
for me. I love this movie. I
Well,
really do.
you brought it to us.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I was like, I could. Well, what is it? There's people who brought movies prior to me that have gone lower.
Yeah, no,
exactly. That's
Yeah,
No,
but no.
actually, you might be the first person that brought us a movie that I've put out to this point that gave a 5.
Gone full 5, yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So
There you
5.
go.
That's me.
All right, now John, what would you give it? 20 times you've seen this thing?
you really want to go to me next?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Solid 4.
solid 4. Okay. All right, Lloyd.
And that's it.
Oh, no.
This moves on.
Because-
Is that the highest number you've given?
I want, it's the highest number he's given, and I want to get past that because I don't want him to think about it too long. And go, it's a 0.
No, it's a solid 4.
Solid
No,
4.
because
would
you owe us
always-
a story.
I'm going to say I've seen this once. I think I saw it years ago. I don't remember anything about it from years ago except for them laying on the ice.
Yep.
It's the only thing I remember.
Yeah.
And now I've seen it again. I want to see it more. I want to give it a 4 right now. It could change if I watch it more, though.
Okay.
I think it could go up.
I'm going to join the 4 club. I give it a 4. This is a solid movie. Really well done. Really well acted.
Highest rated movie I think we've
All together,
done.
yes.
All
All together, yes.
Because I usually bring all that percentage
I think
right down.
we did the first couple as a twosome with guests, and Lloyd was technically a guest at one point, and we did The Thing, which I think would have been the highest, except you didn't like The Thing.
Yeah.
I think if we did it with anybody else on Earth, it would have been higher. But,
I enjoy The Thing as it was, but
right.
Yeah.
when you watch it again, you're like, oh my god, this is a shitty movie.
Wow.
Well, we're in the 4+ territory.
4+
here.
territory. Okay, so now the second question. We don't have to go too long about this. But do you think that this couple has an actual future?
No.
Or do you think you don't? See, I thought you were trying to say before that you thought they did.
Good God, no.
Okay, because I think this is destined just to be, even if they don't erase each other again, which I'm thinking at this point Lacuna's gone, unless they go underground.
After that,
Yeah.
they're
I think they're gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way, but I don't believe that this
after
is a
being
couple.
undermined like that when you're in a dentist's office and the secretary decides to yank
got a
it out
bunch
from
of-
under you.
Bunch of creeps in your
So here's
Yeah,
another
well,
question.
there's that too, but
Erasing, yes or no? Me, I say no. Fuck that erasing. You keep your memories. Your memories make you who you are.
Yeah.
right there,
no,
Lloyd.
agreed.
Right
Fuck
there.
erasing.
Come on,
Agreed.
right there.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
actually creepy.
Part of the reason I did not like this movie initially was because it's all about erasing your memories, regardless of how painful they are, regardless of what the relationship is. You need to use that for your next time forward.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
I'll go a step further.
Why do you think I watch this thing so much?
No, I say that I think Joel, from his experience of trying to erase Clementine and then just fighting for her, I think he puts that towards their new relationship.
I agree.
I say
I hope
he's
so.
learned from this.
I hope so, but they're still the same people.
You have to understand that she is
True.
no different.
No, that's true. But I think he knows what to work on because
He's the weaker.
he knows-
He's the weaker link.
he knows why she erased him.
Well, he is the weaker link.
Yeah. I mean, if he realizes that he can't change her, that's,
Well, he
moving
wouldn't.
the
He wouldn't have
relationship
erased
forward.
her if he hadn't been erased himself.
We're not going to get into relationship concepts, are we?
No, I'm just
you
saying,
can't-
as far as
well,
this couple.
you can't
As this
change a
couple.
person. You don't change a person.
No,
you
you can't,
accept them
but-
as they are.
But if I tell you to work on something, this is something I don't think becomes you. Right? Just
Me.
No, I'm just saying in general.
general.
I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
So if there's something I don't, you know what? When you do that thing,
What?
I don't like that thing.
Yeah.
And if you keep on doing that thing, you didn't learn from that. And that may hinder on,
Well, you have to,
in this case, our relationship.
There's a communication lapse, and
Right.
that's what happens in this movie. Is that
I'll
you
learn
see,
to talk about my feelings more. Maybe Joel will go that way.
You know what I like about this movie is that, so in a lot of love stories and a lot of rom-coms or whatever you want to call them, you see it from the perspective of that these people are going to have to fall in love or be in love.
Right.
We don't always get the real world version of stuff. The real world version of stuff is that people have many relationships. Some last a year, some last 2 years. These two people like each other, but it seems like maybe they're not totally compatible with each other.
Right.
And they do what people do. They get on each other's nerves, and they get to the point where maybe they're not meant to be. I want to bring up a movie real quick that I thought did this really well. Did you ever see 500 Days of
I
Summer?
was going to bring that up as well.
500 Days of Summer is you're watching this movie, and
see
it's
it, Lloyd.
it's a great
never
movie.
saw it.
It's a fantastic.
It's really good.
Fantastic movie.
Don't
I'm surprised.
Yes. Side table here.
Fantastic movie. But the point of the movie is you see this movie
Wrong side.
through Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character's view, and he's in love with this girl, and it's all about how when their relationship breaks up,
Well, I saw
it kind of screws up his life, and he's all he's having he's been broken up with. She never felt the same way about him that he felt about her,
Right.
and that's
Same
that's
thing.
very
Right.
realistic and true.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? But you don't see that in movies a lot.
Same thing. There was a split screen in 500 Days of Summer. What he perceived
Right.
yeah, and the reality.
Correct.
And that's what this movie was. It's like, in his memory wipe, it's what he perceived
Right.
in those situations. We don't know the real Clementine, but their relationship, it's true.
Yeah, he just leave it.
I'm gonna
I just got a
disagree.
dirty look.
I am going to disagree with you.
But we see an exaggerated version of her through him.
From him.
Yes.
And in all
That's
honesty,
what I meant by that.
And in all honesty, we see an exaggerated version of him because this is a memory. Yeah. This is not necessarily exactly how it's not the character per se. It's a personification of the character.
But I think you get an idea of his character.
This is where Charlie Kaufman wants to just muck with your brain.
Yeah.
Good.
But you see his character.
Should we get him on the show?
Movie.
Let's get Charlie.
It totally worked.
Because he's more present than she is.
Right.
So you're getting the perspective from him. You're seeing how he is. There's no airs of how he is. He's very quiet, meek, and she's the outgoing type, and that's as far as you can work off of who these people are. But like I said, every time I watch it, I see something new. I see a different perspective, and that's why I gave it a 5.
I think after you see this movie, you there's a part of you that, like anybody else, you want to see these people end up together. But there's the bigger part where you just go, there's no way.
No.
Right.
Because they're going to fall into the same pit traps they fell into before. And that's okay. That's okay. This is a singular story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This might be in the world of Joel and Clementine, the 5 people they dated before they actually met the person they love. And that's what's cool about it.
You could be David Cross.
What, building birdhouses and smoking weed?
flying bad planes.
Oh, the plane, yeah. All right, so
do you know where the title of this movie comes from?
I do.
Yes, because it came.
They read it off in the movie.
In the movie,
I did want to point out. Yeah, Mary Svergian reads it to Dr. Merziver when she's trying to impress him, and I wanted to bring that up real quick, and I'm glad you said that. Is that Peter Griffin would love this movie because Peter Griffin loves movies where they say the title of the movie in the movie.
He said it.
He just said it.
Very good.
I'm out.
Do you have the poem there written down? Or?
No, I don't have the poem written down.
I was going to write
the
it.
name of it is Eloisa to Abelard.
I was gonna.
Eloisa to Abelard.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my middle name.
And it deals with the same themes of wiping away memories of a love.
I read that over and over, and I still don't get it.
You don't get it? Yeah.
I just see the title, and that's it.
Lloyd,
That's it.
Manster.
Yeah.
When was that written?
Oh, Jesus. I didn't write that down.
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry.
1631.
Fail.
All right. Let's get into some quick box office stuff around the time this came out. Budget $20 million. Amazingly, because it made money. Gross in the U.S. $34 million. Gross worldwide, $73 million. This movie was a hit. Came out on March 19th, 2004. The weekend box office for March 21st, which would have been the weekend of, number 1, the remake of Dawn of the Dead. First week out, it came out and made $27 million. So it came out the same day. Number 2, it was out for 4 weeks at this point. It made $19 million. Jim Caviezel is Jesus Christ, the Passion of the Christ.
Oh, wow.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yep, this is around the same
right
time.
around Easter.
That's why.
that's
why I
right.
got crushed.
Yeah. Number 3, and I had to look this up because I had no clue what this was. It came out the same week, so this is first week out. $11 million, Taking Lives. It was apparently Angelina Jolie, Ethan Hawke movie.
No, it's not very good.
I pretty much have a rule, Angelina Jolie, and I don't watch her movies because they're never good. Number 4, I
like Salt.
I didn't see that. That looked pretty good.
Salt was fun.
Number 4, 3 weeks, $10 million. It was the Starsky and Hutch update. Number 5.
That was not an update. That was
the movie.
That was a
Thank you for that addition.
that was not an update.
Number 5, $9 million out for 2 weeks at that point. The Stephen King adaptation Secret Window, which I saw once.
Really?
Yeah, that was not so good. Number 6, 3 weeks out, $8 million, also featuring a member of the Fellowship of the Ring. And I've never seen this either. It was Viggo Mortensen in Hidalgo.
Oh, Hidalgo is
Hidalgo.
awesome.
Yeah.
You've never seen
The
that?
Race Across the Desert.
Oh,
No. Is it
fucking
good?
see that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Amaze me with the shit that you like.
I saw that in the
you
theater
should have
with my
watched
dad.
that. Well, I didn't, but you should have seen that instead of Chopping Mall.
Nah, Chopping Mall's pretty rad, dude.
No. Chopping Mall. Really?
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I am kidding. Yeah. I'm totally
There's
kidding.
a time and a place. Come on.
Hidalgo is also a historical movie.
Yep.
Is it really?
Omar Sharif, his last film?
Was it the last one?
Was it his last?
Should have been.
Maybe.
He's in it.
Let's look that up.
Number 7, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, opened with $8 million. Right ahead of number 8, the sequel that nobody wanted, but they gave us anyway, $6 million. No, 2 weeks out, Agent Cody Banks 2.
Oh, God. Actually, the first one was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Agent Cody
Yeah, the kid from Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Number 9, Adam Sandler.
2. I just want.
Yeah,
Frankie
they made 2.
Muniz. Sorry.
2.
They made 2.
Did they make 3 though?
I don't know. How much of that gin have you drinking so far? That
All of
brandy?
it?
Oh, is it all gone? It makes sense.
It's
Okay.
brandy.
I figured we were at about
Sure.
all of it levels at this point. Number 9, Adam Sandler, $4 million, 6 weeks, 50 first dates, which also, isn't that also
I
deal
like
with
that
memory?
movie.
Yep.
Isn't that the one with Drew Barrymore? I've never seen it, where Drew Barrymore keeps
Really?
on mementoing
She
herself.
had, she had a trauma.
Yeah.
And she
it's on-
loses her memory after 24 hours.
Set on Hawaii.
Or it resets her memory.
You'll cry.
Really? Oh, yeah, I cried.
Because you're a
Cry.
giant,
It's a cry movie.
giant crier. Yeah.
I do every time it's on, actually.
Did you cry for this movie at all?
Nope.
Really?
There's nothing to cry about.
It's not a cry movie.
Are you kidding me?
These people their relationship isn't that solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was never a cry scene for me in the whole movie.
No, not at all.
If I were to have a moment where I would even remotely maybe feel a little emotion, and I didn't, was I felt Jim Carrey's pain a few times. Like, I felt Jim Carrey's pain a few times.
I usually admit when I cried, and I didn't.
I always
have a
admit when I
crying
cry.
moment.
You never cried
No.
during this movie at all.
Did you cry, John?
Yeah,
seem
did you
like
cry?
you want to part.
No.
No, this is not an emotionally.
Are you
jerking
fucking kidding
movie.
me? This
No,
movie
it's
is
not.
Listen,
is
there's
totally
commercials where I cry on.
Not where
There's
it pulls,
not a moment.
Not where it pulls water out of your face. No,
I agree.
Well, that's nothing happens for me. But
That's why I was hoping that this
not
would.
even plucking a nose hair.
All right, real quick. So, give me one example of a scene that you would even say didn't make you cry. We know you don't cry. You're made of steel.
But you would say,
But you would
someone's
say
going to cry.
that would have gotten me in this movie.
If I had a heart, this is the scene.
Yeah, exactly. If I had a heart, this scene would have gotten me.
Jesus Christ, there's like 19,000 of them.
You're
Nah.
emotionally wired wrong.
No, not in this movie.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Because you don't understand why this movie was a problem for me to watch in the first place.
But see,
We don't know the story.
But wait. But that's
still insane.
But wait, that's tied into you.
Yes, I know that.
So there might be something that's tied into me. I might watch. I don't know. I can't think of anything. I might watch a baseball game, and for some reason, because of a memory, that might make me cry. That would never make everybody else cry, and that's where you're at right now. This movie.
Well, I don't know what. I mean, you tell me you cry at the Lego
Commercials.
movie.
I cry at everything. I'll totally admit that. I'm not afraid. Who the fuck cares?
I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know.
But so, in all honesty, I'm not making fun of you.
No,
I'm
is
just
there
saying.
a scene-
I'm not saying you are.
There's nothing in this movie. Like I said, the two scenes I think that maybe even just made me a little bit like pissy were when he brought her the gift and the way she was to him. I felt for him because I thought, holy shit, how would that feel to be ghosted like that? You know, and the scene in the beginning where he's like crying in the car. I've been there before, you know, younger days and relationships.
Yeah.
And I felt I was there with him. I'm like, Joel, I'm here with you. But like, there was nothing in the movie that made me go, you know.
Well, both of those I would not have cried about, but that's just me.
Right.
Oh, it
you're a
seemed like
fucking
you had a
enigma. So
simple
give us,
scene, yeah.
so give us anything that may be tied to your experience with this movie.
Look,
Did you have your memory erased? Is that why some of these problems are happening?
Are you going to Montauk?
Oh, by the way, before we get too far into anything, number 10, because we didn't get number 10 in there. 15
no one
million.
wants to hear about me.
1.5. Well, we do. $1.5 million.
No one does.
5 weeks out. I think this was a Lindsay Lohan thing. Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. Right? Wasn't that a Lindsay
I remember
Lohan
that.
thing?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I
it was.
remember that.
I think it was. It was
Wasn't
like
that a-
after Mean Girls or before Mean Girls, which is what she's mostly known for, besides, you know,
Whatever.
being a train wreck.
Herbie the Love Bug.
And that too.
Fully
And that
loaded.
too.
I'm
fully
sorry.
Loaded.
Fully loaded.
So, John, what is? We've got a couple minutes left before we go too long.
No,
nothing.
We
No?
have plenty of minutes left.
Okay, well then give us the quick version.
Yeah,
'cause
you're gonna have to edit
we
the
are kind of
crap
long.
out of this.
What are we on?
Hour 20.
Yeesh. Okay.
Yeah,
We got 10 more minutes.
Well, you're gonna cut out like 15 minutes of us yammering at.
it'll end up being like 4 minutes.
Yeah. Whatever.
Trust me, I do this. It'll be like 4
What do you
minutes.
want to know?
What's
Why?
your story?
What's the story with this movie?
So, the movie came out. It was shortly after a breakup, and
I'm listening.
no, you're not.
I am.
And an ex-girlfriend says to me, "This is us." I'm like, well, okay. What do you mean this is us? This is us. Watch the movie. So I go grab a copy of the movie and I watch it, and I was like, oh my fucking God. It's not just us. It's like an amalgam of the two of us. So Joel is not me.
I was going to say,
Joel is
no
her.
way.
Joel wasn't me, and Clementine wasn't her. But if you took aspects of both of them and jammed them together, they were us. Is what the whole thing was, and it was so fucking bizarre when we got into that, and I watched it over and over again, trying to figure out exactly what she was getting at.
Did you just ask her?
Huh?
Like, did you just say what did you mean by this?
Well, that wouldn't have worked.
Oh, see, no communication. Yeah. That's the problem.
That relationship was over at that point when she told me that, and it was like a spear to the heart. This is us. So I watch it, and I'm like, oh.
That proclamation was her erasing you.
Basically, yes. And I watch this movie, and I'm like, you cannot erase people from your memory. You cannot do that.
That's true.
You need to move your way beyond what you've lived through and enjoy what you've gotten out of it, which is what I've done.
Yeah, and learn from, the heartache.
Yeah, well, some of us don't learn, but,
No, and that's true. There's people out there who just keep on making the same mistakes.
Which is, I think,
still questioning, like, why can't I just have what other people have?
Yeah.
Because you're not working on it.
Gravitating toward the same person every time.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
That's everyone, though.
But it happens.
There's some people who
what happens
just
in
click.
this movie, which is what the point is.
Yeah.
Well, we got waist deep on that motherfucker.
Which is why I never think that the end result of the movie never goes away from anything that you're watching.
Wait, I don't understand that sentence.
They're going to go through the same trappings.
As Chris said in the beginning, he sees something different every time he sees the movie.
Right.
I do not. I see the same thing every time I see the movie because they never are going to get out of that circle.
No, I think maybe. Did you mean the ending result, or do you mean you see more detail in the memories?
There's details. There's certain things like there's a time that I've watched it where it's just like they're not together after this. There's other times where I watch it and I'm just like, you know what? I believe in these two. I said
as people, you're like, yes, you want to hope for them.
That's
you
me.
really
I'm
want to
just,
hope for them.
The optimist.
It's the optimist, but you really have to look at it, especially that end scene where they're just cackling away in the hallway. And I'm like, that's me.
That's real right there.
That's me and some chick going,
You can look at that last scene like, they're still unsure.
Completely.
But I
because
also
they don't
like
know
to
each
look
other
at it
anymore.
where I know, but they start anew.
All right.
But
I'll
I think
that.
only
I think only
Joel.
What you say.
Yeah. No. I think Joel is the only one that really has the upper hand
at that
because
point?
he's experienced all the memory wipes trying to fight that.
And one would hope because he was a fucking pansy the entire movie.
Yeah.
Right.
You hate Joel. All right. What we're going to do? We're going to erase this episode from memory.
No, we're not. It's a 4. It's a 4. Total 4.
Well, Chris brings up what's 5, 4, 4. What is divided by 4? What do we got?
4.
That's the hottest movie we've seen yet.
It is. It is the highest rated one so far, for sure.
It's like a 4 and a
17
4 and a quarter or something.
All right, we're doing math. So you know what we're going to say? Go to www.pintofcomics.com. Make sure to go to our YouTube channel and check us out there. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell button to make sure to check out all our videos. Check us out weekly on wesufm.org, 88.1 FM, Wesleyan Radio. Me and John do the show there. And don't forget, our special guest, Chris, give everybody all of your wonderful social media presence and tell everybody where they can follow you on Facebook.
Well, as you said in the beginning, I'm on Instagram.
That's right, IG.
IG, as the kids call it.
IG88.
I think it's arguing with.
Yeah, it's always good to know your own.
And I think @ arguing with, whatever. Figure it out. Arguing with myself, Instagram, I'm sure it'll come up. It's a bar of soap as the profile pic.
It's very Fight Club.
Yes, yeah. Fight Club and a lot of arguing. But go to Facebook, Arguing with Myself, and we can argue at length there because it's not constricted to 280 characters.
Right.
As Twitter is.
Twitter used to be 140.
Twiddler.
Yeah.
The Twiddler.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm on Twitter too, but I'm at Arguing W Myself. The same applies.
Yeah. So follow Chris.
Short conversations, Twitter. You want to look at me, Instagram, Facebook for long arguments.
One last question.
About film.
Yes.
Who has watched this movie with a female?
Technically, Lindsay was on the couch as I watched it.
No. Watch
I think
it.
Lou has. Lou's raised his
myself.
hand. Lou, do you want to?
Come on, Lou.
Yeah.
You watched it with your wife? Yeah?
Yeah, years ago.
Years ago. Regardless.
No.
No. What do you
Because I think because as John pointed out, it's heady, and some people just I have to be in the mood with it, and this, if I want to watch it,
This
I
may
wanna
not
watch
be
it.
the ideal movie to watch with your mate.
But
apparently I have.
I
Yeah,
think,
no,
I think
obviously.
Melanie has seen it separately from me. So
Two different women.
This is why.
did they both have the same result?
No.
Okay.
No. The first one was the one that said to me, "This is us." And then she moved to California.
And then the other one, she said, "I love this love story."
Well, we're not going to talk about that one. Okay. So,
Okay.
All right. So here we are again. Pint of Comics. www.
we're out.
We're out.
See ya.
See ya.
It's over, Johnny. It's over.
Nothing is over! Nothing! You just don't turn it off!